Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be going over a couple of assets, trying to keep the video short. Please read the trade disclaimer. So anything provided in this video is not financial advice. It's just for education, just for fun, and just for education purposes only. So please pause and read the disclaimer, and so let's begin. So what we're going to look at first today, we're going to look at BTC. We're going to look at the old TA that I did before last week. I think it would have been the end of October, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so you can check out the old video. But in today's video, I'm just going to load that TA up just to see how that long-term plan has gone and how it's playing out. So currently we had this big channel. I don't know if you remember or if you've watched that video, and we can see we bounced off nicely from the middle. Then there was a smaller channel also, which was showing the move up, and then currently we are testing it to go back in to the previous channel. So I do like keeping older channels, just in case, as we may retest them. So we have this smaller channel here, but then the other thing that we're looking at were the actual fib targets. So we did a pull from this low to the high to the low, and if you remember clearly, we broke out this 618. We approached. This was approximately, if I'm not mistaken, 1.133. We pulled back down, tested the 786, and we were potentially trying, to break back up. And so what we also then looked at was, in this particular fib, the natural target I was looking at ideally was around the 1.127. And if we were to break above that, it would be around the 1618. We also then looked at another local fib, which was from this high to the low to the high. And so Bitcoin is currently, you can see it's tested the 0.5, broke above the 382, and trying to potentially get above 0, which is the all-time high we already had. So it hasn't fully tested it as per the wicks, but it is getting there. Now the other thing we also look at is we'll look for a normal fib retracement, and let me load that up, and then we'll look at the confluences. So from the fib, wrong one, pardon me. So from the fib retracement point, this was this high to this low, and you can see we had a 618 resistance, a 618 resistance, and then we broke up on the third time and currently sitting on the 0.88. Now ideally we want to break above this, and then if we do break above this, we would be targeting the levels higher around 1.127 to 1618. We can then add the trend-based fib, which we've pulled from this low to the high to the low, and look for where we could potentially have fib confluences. And one of the bigger confluences we had was this 1.127 area as a good target. So I would be looking at that. And then at the same time, if we then look at the bigger channel, we also have an area of potential confluence as well. So effectively we could have a candle close if we do break above this, and that's the word, if we do break above this, is we could tap this area, candle close here, and a wick to potentially 1.41, which is near the higher of the channel. Now that may be a potential top area where it would tap this and then could bounce in that area or move sideways, or we could just break above this and go straight for the 1618, and then as we hit this, then we could test the upper side of the channel. The other thing I also had previously was I had an alternative channel as well, which I will show you. So let's hide the fibs. And then the alternative channel was this, and this was primarily based upon, you know, these 3 points. And you can see from here, you know, it did break above it. We did use the upper part of the channel, which was in confluence with the middle part of the original channel, as potential support. So based on this, if we break above the 0.88 level, then, you know, then I will target at least the 1.127 to even the 1.141. But again, it all depends where we go from here. Now, in terms of you know, indicators, you can see from here, you know, the Titan RG, you know, the longs have pushed in, and you can see that pretty clearly. And this is from this indicator. If I remove this, so based on this, you can see that's a nice surge in buys, which is, you know, nice in terms of continuing that pattern of buys on the weekly. Now, if we go back to without the indicators, personally, if you're not in a trade, I would say be cautious, you know, trying to long this, because, you know, if it fails to break above, you know, it could then retest at 618 as support, and that has happened before, and, you know, it can retest it and then move up, and that's something to be cautious of. So the last thing you want to do is you long here, price comes down, retests, and, you know, effectively stops you out or liquidates your position. Okay, that's it for BTC. Let's move over to Ethereum. So this is the original Ethereum chart. May look a bit messy, but this is how it was drawn. So let's look at the various different levels. So I'm just going to hide all the fib levels initially. So you can see the channel is still respected. Currently, we haven't reached the top. The path that I originally laid out was based on a fib level. So if we again look at a trend-based fib, which was from this low to the high to the low, you can see we had the reaction on the 618. We broke up. We've broken above this area, and we're trying to potentially get to the top of the channel. And if we do break above the channel, that's the area I would be targeting. But currently, I'd be looking for, you know, potential profit taking around here. If you look at the fib retracement tool, the fib retracement tool in itself is pretty good. And what we can see from that is there's confluence with it at the 0.1 level and the 1618, and currently price has the potential to move there quite easily there. I don't see any sort of resistance or anything in this area as we are at an all-time high. So ETH is just going as per planned. If we look at it from an indicator point of view, let's remove this one and this. So currently we're still very bullish on that volume for ETH, you know, since that breakout. And then on the weekly side of things, it's gone very, very tight, but we are still bullish, even though from a weekly point of view it has come down, but otherwise it is still going to plan. Let's now look at Bitcoin Cash, something that I've been requested by one of the VIP members. So I'll just quickly go over and build this chart. One moment, and then we'll go through it. Okay, so I've gone through and charted out Bitcoin Cash. So I started off originally with the weekly to do the channel. The channel I have is based in this local area. We're not looking at this particular zone all the way to the top. As we have from 17th of May onwards, you know, technically it moves sideways in that area. So if you look at the daily, you can see the channel has been respected rather well. So you know, the natural thing I'd be looking at is taking profits in the middle to the top. Again, you know, I would see the top of the channel as potential resistance. The other thing I would want to look at is you know, some trend-based fibs and normal fib retracements. So first of all, what we're going to look at is the bigger fib retracement, which is from the high here to the low. And we can see currently price, you know, it's been hovering in between that area. And if I actually load this up as a standard template, you can see, you know, we're holding 0.133. We broke back into it and we're just in between it. Okay, so technically it's squeezing up. Some people may even look at this as a sort of triangle, which again I do not look at or have any interest at looking at. But when I see this, you know, the key level I'm looking for a breakout would be on this 236 and holding it and not reversing back down as it did on the rejection of that channel, the top of the channel. So we have that big area, the 236, which is again crossing near the middle of that channel. The other thing I'll be looking for is a smaller fib retracement. So this is from this high to the low, and you know, you can see we broke up the 382 level, currently stuck between the 0.5, and one of the key levels you really want to break is this local 618. And if you do break this, the ideal target you want is at least a 1.127. Again, that's what I use, or the 1618. Now, in order to get to those areas, we would need to break out this channel. Now, the way it looks like it may not do it straight away because it is, you know, an ascending channel, but the price is moving rather slowly compared to other altcoins. So, you know, that can play as big resistance. The other thing I'd be looking at is, you know, this area here has been tested a few times for liquidity. So it is potential that we may reach here and reject and come back down. There is that possibility. The other thing I also want to look at is look at the, you know, the trend-based fibs. So we've got this local one. So from this low to the high to the low, and again it shows breaking above this 382 level. However, the 618 is slightly higher. So if we compare that to the local trend-based fib, you can see that the 618 golden pocket with the 0.5 fib retracement is going to be potential area of resistance, and then at the same time the other 618 with the 786 level up here has the potential to be resistance. So I'll mark these with these circles symbol. Okay, I'm not stating it will take this long, it's just the levels themselves. The other thing I'll be looking at is again looking at another fib retracement level, which is the local one, which is from this low to the high to the low, and then again you can see here, you know, that area has some confluence with a local 786, and the next area up is confluence closer to the 0.1 level. This is if we add this other trend-based fib from the bigger size, and if we add the fib retracement. Now the other thing is the big fib retracement from the top, you can see up here, it's then pointing towards resistance again to the 236. So for me, the key area to break is this level over here. You ideally want to see that broken. And the other thing, the other reason you want it broken is because you're looking for the market structure to change and become bullish. So currently, you know, the lows are effectively, you know, higher lows, but the higher highs have not been established yet. So what we ideally want is this to potentially break through that area of resistance, even if it then closes around, you know, this original area which has been highlighted, these 2 points, ideally you want it here. The other reason I say ideally here, there is also an order block in this region. If we go back to the daily, and then we scroll down to say the 4 hour, there is an order block in that area. So what I would be looking for is price to potentially, you know, move up, tap that order block. Yeah, that's where I'd expect ideal wicks to be. Yeah, and then come down and do a test of that 618. But the key area to break is going to be this point over here, which is the two, you know, the bigger fib retracement 236 level, other retracement points at another 618 or 0.5 level. So this is the price you really want to break and really want to look for. And if I take a label just to give you a price, I think that's the right one. Yes, it is. So approximately around sort of this sort of price, 686. Ideally, you want to break. And if we then start to create this bullish structure, then the advantage you'll get is something along the lines where, you know, price breaks up. Say if it just goes sideways for a bit, yeah, and then moves up, fills this, comes down, you know, technically fills that as a bullish order block, and then we can, you know, potentially take the next move up, you know, and then that we're looking at a break of this. And if you're looking at this as sort of structure, ideally, don't want it to retrace down as far as this much, because you want to keep the lower highs moving up, and then the higher highs building up. So here we're talking sideways movement, potentially filling that block, coming down, filling the next potential block over here, and we would look at this point here, and then if it does come down here, it will still be fine, because yes, it's created a lower high compared to this, but the previous lows were still creating highs, and the higher high hasn't actually, you know, been lost, because if the wick is down here, then technically we could zip back up. But again, this is all just my opinion. So that's it for this video. Sorry if it's taking a bit longer. So thanks again for watching, I would say. If you do want to look at the indicator from an indicator point of view, before I actually end it, you know, locally it's bullish. On the weekly side, it's struggling a bit. So if you look over here, the buys and the sells are dropping, and the sells are higher than the buys. So if it doesn't break this area, then it will just continue to consolidate. Yeah, so that's what I believe, and that's it from myself. So thank you again. Also, just remember this disclaimer. Everything showed in this video is just my opinion. It's not financial advice. It's just for education. Do support the channel. Do like our content.